What's up, everybody? And we back on Why Cancel Culture. And today we have Karen O'Roscoe here today, a photographer and an artist. And we're just gonna dive right in. So, how long have you been doing photography?
Going on 16 years now.
What's something that motivated you to jump into photography?
I always liked taking photographs everywhere I went. I went to Cuba twice as a mission for missions trips, and I started doing a lot of photography there of just the people and the living and the scenery. And then, I just started doing it for friends, and from friends, it moved on to people wanting to pay me to do it. So it grew that way.
What about art? Now I've seen some of your art and I actually love your art. Me and my wife went to your art show.
Exhibition.
Yeah, expedition. Yeah, it was really good. I remember you was talking about it sometimes, and then I seen like the whole layout. It was definitely like amazing. What made you? How long you been doing art?
Well, ever since I was little, I loved art. In fact, I wanted to go to school for clothes designing in Miami, but yeah, I ended up kind of getting away from that and trying to go into the medical field where I went to school and worked as an administrator in offices and like pharmaceutical research companies and doctors' offices. But so I got kind of strayed away from it, but then decided to go back and finish a degree in art just so I can have something that I actually wanted to do. So I did that.
Most of your art looks so realistic that it's like I'll be like, damn. You didn't start off that way, did you? Or you did start off that way?
No, I mean, it started off, you just doodling and trying to sketch and stuff like that. And then I got into airbrush in high school in Panama. I had my teacher who was an airbrush artist. He would do waves and stuff, and he taught me how to use the airbrush. And so then after that, I came here and I was kind of bored because I didn't have a job or anything. But I went ahead and started doing airbrush and just playing around with it and getting better and better at it. So I incorporate airbrush with actual brush strokes, to bring out some details. But yeah, I try to mix both of them to make it look as real as possible.
Okay, so I'll be seeing some cool pictures that you do on Instagram, and I'll see Mayweather in some of the pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Um, how did you? What are the challenges of doing that, and how did that happen? How did you connect with him?
Well, what happened is he's got his best friend is Lank, Lank the King is Lank the King Promotions, and we shoot boxing. I like to shoot. I mean, I do a lot of boxing coverage in the state of Tennessee. I've gone to Arkansas and Missouri and shot boxing matches there as well. In fact, my husband shot at the Louisiana Golden Gloves and or Nationals. It was the Nationals, and we got to speak to USA Boxing, and they're gonna ask us to see if we can start shooting more of their stuff and cover the USA Boxing team. So he got to shoot the actual guys, I guess, getting ready to go to the Olympics, this next Olympic. But so we got into that, and we heard that there was a match going on in Memphis. So we usually reach out to promoters and say, hey, do you need photography coverage? And so he said, yeah. And I said, tell you what, let me go ahead and you can try us out. And if you like us, just let us know each time you have something in the area. So we did, and we provided good photos of his boxing, of his, tournament, or not tournament. It's like event, and then Mayweather, actually in that one, Mayweather was supposed to show up, but I think he was late. But he did show up for a little bit afterwards, and then that's probably one of the pictures you've seen on my Facebook. Is like where I was so like, oh my gosh, he smells so good because he walked right by me. That's how I knew he was there. I'm like, what's that smell? And then I turn around and I'm like, oh my God, it's Mayweather. And then so I continued shooting the boxers. And then when there was like a break when they were on their their corners, I went ahead and walked up to Mayweather and I shook his hand and I said, and I was like so like starstruck.
Yeah.
So I was like, it's very nice to meet you, sir. And I shook his hand and I said, I'm a big fan. And then I was trying to think of what word to use. So I said, I'm a big fan of your work. I felt like the biggest idiot. He just laughed and he said, well, thank you. And then he started dancing, and then I was like, I was getting ready to go back to shoot the boxers and stuff. But he's actually, getting to talk to him that night, he was nothing of what everybody says. I mean, he was very down to earth, very nice. And he usually doesn't like to be around the camera much,
Yeah.
so I have to sneak shots here and there. But now that we've done several of Lang's promotions, he'll let me know, hey, this is me and Mayweather are gonna be here and here and here and here, and I need you to cover me. And I'm like, okay. So then I'll shoot his pictures with Mayweather.
What is something that challenged you about that situation? Anything or
No,
lighting?
lighting. Oh, gosh. Yeah, lighting, especially in club scenes. I don't think he's really into flash, but even in boxing, you cannot shoot with a flash on in boxing. It's not allowed. You will get literally kicked out.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, everything. That's why there's a lot of the pictures that you see, it could be a little grainy, is because we have to use a high ISO depending on the lighting situation. But on smaller places, like smaller promotion companies, their lighting is not as good. So because it's in a bar somewhere and they have one light. I've shot a fight where they just have one center light, a bright light, and that was the hardest one. So there's a lot of harsh shadows, but the thing that matters is that you freeze that shot. That you get as much action shots as possible. And compared to other photographers that I've seen, that they'll shoot all night and they'll have like 10 good images, we always end up with thousands of good images just because we've been doing it for so long.
Did it ever get stressful to go through all those images?
Yeah, it's now I got it down to a science kind of thing.
Yeah.
But we actually, at the end of an event, with all the cameras we have, we actually end up with about 6,000 images. And we've gotten it down to where we just go camera by camera and just split, just go through all the one and X out the ones we don't like. And the editing that we have to do is not much. It's just, brightening it up a little bit or
When you say we, it's just you and your husband, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So did he find the same passion in
my husband's
photography?
actually a boxer. Yeah.
Oh, I remember you telling me. Yeah.
He was a boxer for the military, all Army team. And then he did boxing his whole life. His dad was a coach. So now he's a coach. He works over at American Pride, and he's a coach there. And they just got back from Silver Gloves tournament, or I guess tryouts, and they have like several of their young boxers going to Silver Gloves. And,
nice.
Yeah. And
so he likes photography too.
Yes.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, he took pictures before of deer. That's what
nice.
He was taking nature photography. But then we got into the boxing stuff together. So like he learned off of me and I learned off of him. Like he would mess around with the computer and he'd be like, hey, I found a shortcut to do this. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So we feed off of each other, and that's what helps the situation.
That's pretty dope right there.
It is.
So after graduation, how was art going for you?
I
tried. Did you still make as much or?
No, I did a couple of pencil drawings. I would just like take a person off of TikTok and then be like, I'm gonna sketch them in pencil, just playing around and stuff. I was teaching homeschool kids, that parents would have them come over and I would teach them, some drawing basics. But I've been so busy in photography that I haven't really had time to paint.
Yeah.
So that's kind of gone down a little bit. I'm trying to level it out, but when you have photography 100% of the time and you have to go places and do travel and do stuff like that, it kind of takes away from being able to spend that time that you need to paint something.
Yeah. I haven't actually painted something in a while. I painted something this year though. I haven't painted something in a while. I try to stay on top of it, but yeah I'm just like you. I kind of fall in and out of it sometimes.
Yeah.
So the premise of this show is why cancel culture, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in my opinion, I think that cancel culture, when it comes to certain groups, they lack transparency. I think they kind of jump the gun a little bit because at the end of it all, people end up saying sorry and everything kind of goes back to normal.
Right.
So I just want to basically ask you, what is your views on cancel culture?
I think it's the most ignorant thing I've ever heard. I mean, it's dumb. It's like like, what are we teaching this generation? We're teaching them that, oh, if your feelings get hurt, you're gonna cancel that.
Yeah,
You know,
that's right.
it's like they're gonna grow up thinking it's okay. It's like, oh, I don't like you, so I'm gonna cancel you, or this, if I don't get paid as much as I want and I'm demanding this, I'm gonna cancel this. So what exactly are we teaching people with cancel culture? We're not really accomplishing anything. We're erasing a lot of not heritage, but like a lot of our history is being erased.
Yeah.
And it's like, I just feel like
even the small things. I mean, like from like we said earlier, cartoon characters.
Yeah, Pepe Le Pew. I loved him. I thought he was freaking hilarious.
And I think they looking too deep into something, and then they make that exactly what it is, right? Because like I had a question in my master's program, right? It was a discussion board when they asked about Barbie, and they said Barbie isn't a child's toy. She's unstable. She's in an unstable relationship. All these things that adults put on this shit, and it kind of made me like, what are y'all talking about?
Yeah,
like she's a kid's toy. They're like over analyzing it. Not to mention they're taking the innocence out of it.
Right.
And I think that's what they do with a lot of stuff now.
Yeah, they're making it so personal that it's like you're taking the children's imagination of using the Barbie the way they want away.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no, because she, like you said, she had what, relationship issues. My Barbie was, she'd get in her Jeep, she'd go out to the backyard, and I'd have a hose, and that was the river, and she would go like camping and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, these are the things that I played with. It was like, there was no relationship with that Barbie. You know, she didn't have relationships. She had friends. It's just like, they're completely perverting everything. Everything is bad. Everything is oh, it's not good for this ethnicity, or it's not good for this, it's like, how do you know? You can't put yourself in that person's shoes. You don't live their life. You don't know what they've gone through or what their family's gone through.
Yeah, and one thing I really see is like, I think with me is with the comedians. Mm-hmm. I mean, comedians have a career that's really no boundaries. They supposed to be able to have, dark comedy, a regular comedy, and all that. Right. So they're supposed to be able to say what they want to say, and sometimes they get like, a lot of controversy comes up based off of some joke they made.
Right.
That's supposed to be meant to be funny, and people get their feelings hurt and take it
completely
left.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. People are just, I watched Chappelle and I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, I thought it was funny too.
I was laughing so hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like everybody's getting their feelings hurt, and I don't know how to put it in a nice way. It's just that they're making everybody just really sensitive. I have other words to use, but I won't use them. But yeah, it's like, what are we doing? What are we teaching our kids? It's like, you're canceling culture because you don't like it, and that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, I kind of feel like if I can't, because some stuff I don't agree with, but I feel like that'll be looked at as hate if I spoke on it or voice my opinion on it. You know what I mean?
Right. At this point, because I think everybody is entitled to their opinion. You don't have to agree with them.
Yeah.
You don't have to battle them. You don't have to try to convince them. Like, I can give you my opinion. I'm not trying to convince you of why my opinion's right. I'm just sharing my opinion, and I'm going to respect yours just as much, because everybody has a right to say something.
My thing is too, like, most stuff, if I don't like it, I'm not going to watch it. I'm not going to tune into it.
Exactly. Exactly. Like, when I'm there at midnight, going through TikTok, and I end up, that person that shows up and says, hey, you've been scrolling for way too long. I'm like, nope, not listening to that. But yeah, so I'll be like, if I see something that I don't agree with or something that's completely off, I don't have to take the time to comment on it. It's like, okay, I don't agree with you. I'm going to swipe over.
Yeah. And or delete you or...
Yeah. And I, like, there was one time that I posted, something, and I had people of my own race, of a Hispanic race, they started calling me names and all that stuff, and I'm like, hey, keep it classy, man. Yeah. It's like, okay, you have your way. I've traveled. I've been around. I've been to Europe. I've been to actual socialist countries, socialist ran countries. I've been places. I've been to a lot of places, and I've seen more than the U.S. the comforts of the U.S.
So
So
your views are broader than
yeah,
good.
so
Yeah.
I know exactly what's going on. Try interviewing somebody from Cuba and see what they say, and about how they feel about it. I mean,
Yeah.
we had to hide in a bus just to get medication to the right places because they weren't able to go into the city to get their medication. So, and everybody talks, there was a documentary about how great the medical care in Cuba is. No, it's like, yeah, it's good for the people in the city,
Yeah.
but the people out in the country, they don't get that, and they're rationed food. Their cattle that they take care of is not even theirs, it's the government's. And if one gets hit by a car, you go to prison for it. There's a lot of injustices that people just don't understand.
Yeah.
They don't
Yeah.
understand. They just, and before you go off and blabber about, oh, how great socialism is or how great it would be, no, it doesn't work. It's a flawed system. It doesn't. There's a lot of historical facts that you can look up. You want to really get to know how these things run, go to a socialist country. Go to Venezuela.
Yeah.
Go to Venezuela.
Yeah.
Go to Cuba. Go to these places and then come back and we'll talk.
Yeah.
But until then, don't even bring it up with me
Yeah.
because I've been there, I've seen it, and I've heard it from the mouth of the people that have to live it day by day, and it is not a fun thing.
So before you go, how can people get in contact with you on social media? Maybe Instagram or...
Okay, so my Instagram is KO Photography TN for Tennessee because there's several KO photographies, but mine is from Karen Orozco. My initials kind of fell in with the boxing perfectly, but that's branding. But
Nice.
yeah, that's my brand. But yeah, so KO Photography TN on Instagram, on Twitter it's the same thing. Who uses Twitter anymore?
Yeah.
And on Facebook, it's k.o.photography. I try to do that one different, but they wouldn't let me. And then my website is kophotography.org because we do a lot of work for organizations and stuff like that.
Nice. Hey, thank you for coming out. And
thank you for having me.
We are out.
All right.